An amazing tool to put in your happiness toolbox. When you grow and you develop, there's different parts of your personality. Some parts of your personality, like creativity, develops greater and greater and greater, but other parts of your personality don't develop at all. Let's say organization. So as you grow in life, your creativity goes up and up, but your ability to be organized doesn't grow the same way. We don't grow always in proportion in the different parts of our personality. Now here's the thing. What you do in life is usually you avoid the areas that bring out your weaknesses and you choose activities that bring out your strengths. But as you get older and your responsibilities get higher, there's no way to avoid those areas of weakness. When you get married, when you have a job, you're going to need some creativity or you're going to need some organization. There's no way. You must develop those areas. But what's really interesting is that when you get to a certain level of maturity in general, you're not always on the same level of maturity. Sometimes throughout the day, you drop down. Instead of being a person who's 25 years old, you drop down to 16 or 8. If you want to be happy, and you want to be happy not just from day to day, but from hour to hour, it is critically important to be aware of your emotional age at the time of the day. Throughout the day, what's my emotional age? My wife and I speak about this all the time. We ask each other, how old do we think we are right now? I was on the bus the other day and I was coming back with my family and someone dropped the suitcase right on my foot. And it hurt. I yelled out, ow. I looked at the person who dropped it and he didn't say a word. And I said to him, look, if you drop a suitcase on someone's foot, at least you say I'm sorry, something, right? He said, oh, I said I'm sorry. Now when that happened, I felt my maturity level going down to about 15 or 14 years old. I felt myself wanting to tell the guy, that's not right, why'd you do that? And I felt my maturity dropping. Why is it important to know that your maturity is not the same level right now, that you drop down maturity? Why is that so important? Because when that happens, you can say to yourself, you know what? I can't 100% trust my perception of the situation. Before I was mature, I was on the level that I actually am, my proper age, but now I drop down and now I'm lower. So my take on the situation is not going to be accurate. I have to say to myself, wait a second, let me get back to maturity level so I can then assess the situation properly and make the proper decisions of what's the best thing to do. Now this is an incredible skill for everything. If throughout the day, if you know that you're a younger person than you normally are right now, then you can give yourself a little bit of slack. You can say, wait a second, maybe I'm not acting the right way right now. In addition to that, when it comes to other people, marriage and relationships, you can say to yourself, wait a second, even though this person right now is 26, 36, 56, doesn't matter how old they are, right now they're acting like they're 6 or 7. I'm going to drop my expectations right now temporarily and say, you know what? Right now the person's, they're not capable of being more responsible. They're not going to be sensitive. They're not going to be responsible. Not in a judgmental way, but in a kind way, in a compassionate way. Say, listen, they can't handle this right now. If I'm kind to them, and if I'm giving to them, if I'm patient to them, they will come back up. Now, of course, we're not talking about abusive relationships. We're not talking about where people are constantly acting like they're 6. You may say to yourself, I need to distance myself from a person like that. That's 100% fine. But what we are saying is, generally speaking, everybody drops down from their maturity, and everyone has moments where they're not as put together, and that's totally fine. And when you recognize, oh, my spouse, or my boss, or my son, or my daughter, or my friend, or my parents are dropping down their level of maturity right now, then I can be compassionate with them instead of being judgmental, instead of being harsh, instead of being demanding, getting angry. It changes the world in a completely different way. I don't feel angry. I can deal with them with compassion. I can give them the chance to come back up to what they need. In addition to that, what's wonderful is if you heal the child, the adult will appear. Everyone has that small child inside that needs a little bit of love, that needs some compassion, that needs a lot of patience. If you're patient with people and you see the better version of them, and you say right now they're just dropped down temporarily, but I know that's not who they are, then they have the chance of getting back to where they were. But if you always say to yourself, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You're locking them in to that negative behavior. This is yet another tool to put into your happiness and success toolkit. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your feedback, what you have to say, and what you can add to this conversation. All the best. And don't forget to live to your fullest.